Post-training notice. National First Class Registered Exorcist. Chapter 76. Reunion. Kita, Chen Zhen, and Xian Hezi went flying outwards at the same time. Kita, in mid-air, turned to the side and somersaulted, turning into a huge wolf glowing with blue light. Xian Hezi waved his hand and the trees went toppling over before bouncing back up, holding up against the powerful momentum with which the grey wolf landed, soundlessly sending the battle wolf back up on its feet. With a shake of its fur from head to tail, the wolf turned into the same color as the night for camouflage. Chen Zhen and Xian Hezi yanked on its ears as they clambered onto its back. Qi Wei swiftly ran up to the balcony on the top floor, but when he pushed open the door, what he saw was a black shadow that leapt down 12 stories. Qi Wei raced to the edge of the balcony, only to see the man vanish around the corner of the building, his coat fluttering in the wind. Qi Wei pressed down on his earpiece, raced to the other side of the balcony, and said, "They haven't left yet, don't fall for this trap to lure us away." The grey wolf arched its body, a slight noise issuing forth from its throat, and in a garbled voice, said, "They're close by, they haven't left the garden yet. The restrictions haven't been activated." Xian Hezi crept soundlessly down, passing through the garden. Chen Zhen said quietly, "Go take a look in the back." Outside the hotel, drunken guests were returning, accompanied by the crisp, clear laughter of the women they were with. Behind another building whose lights had already gone out, outside the floor-to-ceiling windows of a fancy hotel, the grey wolf appeared. The moonlight shone down on the huge black wolf, lending the scene a dreamlike quality. It looked across the room, its glowing, green eyes studying the insides of each room. "Not here," Chen Zhen said. "In the hotel's garden, hidden within the depths of the shrubbery, behind a small shed used to hold cleaning supplies." "What did you knock him out for?" "Take him back," a man's voice said. A raspy voice replied, "But I thought." "I said, take him back," the man repeated. Another voice spoke, that of a young person's. "Milord Boss Snake, you've already exposed your tracks. I'd suggest sending him back as the best course of action, and once Chen Zhen comes tomorrow, you can then discuss terms and conditions with him." "None of you are fit to be Chen Zhen's opponents," the man said darkly. "I came here not for the sake of capturing someone." "Who told you to come along of your own accord?" "Leave me." The man wearing a black trench coat bent over, picked up Zhi Xiaoduo in his arms, and carried him over to one of the long benches in the garden. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. "Wait!" Zhi Xiaoduo shouted in the dream towards the huge snake. He raced towards the ocean, and when his feet stepped into the sea water, it felt as though it was real. The sea water roiled, and Zhi Xiaoduo lifted the lantern, shining it into the ocean. The light of the lamp cast a blurry trail of light as it shone out across the surface of the sea, and in that moment, the huge snake once again lifted its head out from the water, turned its body, and tilted its head to look towards Zhi Xiaoduo. With a shua, it spun swiftly around to face him. Zhi Xiaoduo was greatly startled by this sudden movement, and he almost fell, before he began to chuckle. The huge snake scooted its head in front of Zhi Xiaoduo, swiftly and warmly pressing a snake's kiss to his cheek. It then filled the sky with black chi and left the sea water, flying upwards to the moon. "Who are you?" Zhi Xiaoduo shouted. He woke up. The sunlight was brilliant, and Zhi Xiaoduo was lying on a bed, with blankets over him. Chen Lang was sitting on top of the blankets, shaking him a little. Zhi Xiaoduo felt a dull throb of pain from his head, and his vision spun. Finally, his gaze focused on the iPad in Chen Lang's hands. On it, Chen Lang had written 3 words, "I'm so hungry." Zhi Xiaoduo reached out his hand from under the blankets and wrote, "Let's go eat breakfast." Zhi Xiaoduo had spent the entire day thinking of what he had seen in the dream, and he rubbed his stomach unconsciously. He wasn't really pregnant, was he? Today was New Year's Eve, and the number of guests in the hotel had increased. Chen Lang really liked the congee and salad from the buffet breakfast, and Zhi Xiaoduo ate absent-mindedly. Xian Hezi was swiping the free packets of sugar and tea bags from the milk section, while Kita came down, yawning and saying, "Let's take you window shopping in a bit." "How about them?" Zhi Xiaoduo asked. "Zhou Wanyuan will come later," Kita said. "She'll come with us." Director C. Chen Zhen, Executive G, and Xian Hezi will go out to play on their own. After Zhi Xiaoduo finished eating, he went upstairs to find his bestie. His bestie was just about to head out to meet with a preschool friend, so everyone discussed their own plans before agreeing to come back at 6 o'clock that evening to change and head out together. "There's a lot of stores nearby." Zhou Wanyuan replied, "Let's go to one central." With that, Kita stuck his hands in his pants, and as a 1.9 meter tall, handsome, rich guy, he led Zhi Xiaoduo and Chen Lang along, eating an egg waffle as he followed behind Zhou Wanyuan, keeping her company as she window shopped. "Do you like it?" Kita asked Zhi Xiaoduo. "Buy it?" "I'm just looking." Zhi Xiaoduo stood in front of a shop window. "This candy looks like it's very tasty," Chen Lang said to Zhi Xiaoduo. Kita said, "Do you like it?" "Buy it?" Zhi Xiaoduo. "Do you want it?" Kita asked Zhi Xiaoduo. "This casual outfit will look pretty good on you." "Buy it?" Zhi Xiaoduo calculated out his own year-end bonus. When the time came, he had to return this money to Kita. How could he just take someone else's things? Kita wasn't an ATM. Zhou Wanyuan said, "Kita, come here and swipe your card." Kita stared at Zhou Wanyuan. "Miss, have you gotten it wrong? I'm just here to carry your bags." Zhou Wanyuan said, "Weren't you the one saying buy it, buy it, buy it?" Chen Zhen promised that us co-conspirators would be allowed to have one bag and one set of clothes reimbursed. "Okay." Kita said, "Director Chen agreed to the reimbursement, but I haven't agreed to submit this as an expense on your behalf." Zhou Wanyuan, "I haven't exchanged my money, so help me out here by paying for it for now." Kita had no choice but to pay for it on Zhou Wanyuan's behalf first. He then asked Zhi Xiaoduo, "Do you want this bag? Should I buy one for you as well? This is the women's style." Zhi Xiaoduo was torn between laughing and crying. "Do you want it?" Kita asked, passing by a store. He held the black card between his fingers and handed it to Zhi Xiaoduo. Buy, buy, buy. Take the card, and swipe it as you please." "Why aren't I being given this kind of treatment?" Zhou Wanyuan was not happy. "I was simply curious." Zhi Xiaoduo protested. Zhi Xiaoduo looked at that snakeskin bag and was reminded of the huge snake in his dreams. He said critically, "Without such demand, there would be no killing. Humans are truly too cruel." Zhou Wanyuan was trying on a long, red evening gown, and was holding a handbag. She said, "Hey, Kita, come here and swipe your card." Kita took off his sunglasses and looked Zhou Wanyuan up and down, before flipping the tag over. 90,000 patakas. "Are you sure Director Chen will allow you to submit this as an expense?" Kita asked. "I suggest that you call him first and ask." "Hey," Zhou Wanyuan said regretfully, "this is all for the success of the mission. You wouldn't let me wear stuff I bought off Dobayo to this kind of upper-class dinner gala, would you?" Kita replied, "That Wanyuan me Isa, even if the mission succeeds, if Director Chen sees the expense report, his heart will act up okay. I suggest that you'd best call him first. Or how about you call your dad first?" Zhou Wanyuan yanked Kita's collar, dragging him in front of her. She smiled gently as she eked out her next words from between gritted teeth. "He's already agreed. Do you think that if he hadn't agreed to let me buy, I would have come here on New Year's? Worst comes to worst, I'll pay for it myself, okay?" Zhi Xiaoduo and Chen Lang sat chummily outside a sweets shop, Buying frozen yogurt to eat? Chen Lang was adding toppings on his chosen flavor of frozen yogurt, while Zhi Xiaoduo glanced carelessly around them. He saw quite a lot of people clustering around one guy who was picking out clothes inside a very expensive menswear store. So handsome. Zhi Xiaoduo's attention was drawn in by that man's charisma, and he couldn't resist turning around to watch him. 4 attendants, 2 standing to each side, were standing guard in the store. The store employees had pulled out the posts used to seal up a doorway, thus closing off the store, and the entire store's employees were all waiting on that one man. He could only see the man's silhouette, but even then, he could tell that his posture was upright, his shoulders broad and his back straight. Another silhouette, some sort of secretary, was holding a suit jacket for him to try on. Zhi Xiaoduo could not see his face, but he felt a little touched, as if he had seen a dandy who had walked straight out of a novel. Chen Lang finished picking toppings, and he handed the frozen yogurt to Zhi Xiaoduo. When Zhi Xiaoduo passed by that store, he couldn't resist glancing again curiously, trying to see what that man's face looked like. But just at that instant, though the man did not turn, his assistant turned his head swiftly and glanced at Zhi Xiaoduo from the corner of his eye. One of his eyebrows lifted slightly. Zhi Xiaoduo felt a wave of bloodlust, and he thought, will I get killed if I simply glance at him? I better leave quickly. What's wrong? The man asked mildly. It's nothing. The assistant bowed slightly. Zhou Wanyuan was looking at herself in the mirror, turning this way and that, using her phone to take selfies. Kita watched her disinterestedly, before saying, allow me to say a sentence that will kill the mood. Zhou Wanyuan's willowy eyebrows lifted. What? You're planning on buying it already? Kita shouted. Why can't you go back and look in the mirror then? Zhou Wanyuan replied, frustrated, the mirrors in the store are specially made, that's why you look good in them, and there's enough lighting here, do you understand? As soon as Zhi Xiaoduo and Chen Lang saw Zhou Wanyuan, they felt as if they had seen an immortal. Their jaws almost fell off entirely. It was only then that Zhou Wanyuan changed back into her original clothes, and she had Kita carry the bags. The 4 of them shopped for a while longer. Zhi Xiaoduo thought that it wouldn't be good to return just like this, so he bought a few discounted men's wallets, one for each of Chen Zhen and the rest of them, before buying his bestie and Chen Lang a few bits and bobs. At 6 o'clock that night, everyone gathered at the hotel. Chen Zhen sat in the room, drawing out a map for Qi Wei and Xian Hezi. There was a knock on the door from outside, and Xian Hezi went to open it. Tada Zhi Xiaoduo walked in. Chen Zhen and Qi Wei swiftly put the white paper away and tossed it into the trash. Zhi Xiaoduo came in, carrying bags both large and small. Happy New Year. Your invoice. Kita handed the invoice to Chen Zhen. Chen Zhen glanced at it, before asking Zhi Xiaoduo, did you buy a lot? Did you have fun shopping? Each of you gets a wallet, Zhi Xiaoduo said. I'll be going first. Zhi Xiaoduo handed each of them a wallet. Chen Zhen smiled and swapped his money into the new one. Xian Hezi seemed a little surprised by this show of favor and he said, I also have one. He was so touched that he felt as if he was about to cry. This is the first time I've received such an expensive gift. Zhi Xiaoduo ned, before returning to his own room. After he left, Chen Zhen made an okay gesture to Kita, before taking the pen and saying, just now, we got to. Xian Hezi, you get into the kitchen. He then tore off another piece of paper and explained, once the cruise ship sets sail. Chen Zhen drew a few lines on the paper with a pen, before he flipped it over and took a look. There were 3 invoices, with total expenditures of 120,000. Director Chen. Hang in there. Chen Zhen. Should we call an ambulance? Kita. Chen Zhen pressed a hand to his chest, gasping for air. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Zhi Xiaoduo and Chen Lang organized what they had bought. Zhi Ziaduo had even bought Chen Lang many small decorations, candy, and local specialties. Chen Lang put the things away happily. "Are you going to be with your brother tonight?" Gerger said. "He's taking me out to have fun," Chen Lang said. "You all have fun, too." That night, Kita was driving, while Zhou Wanyuan sat in the front passenger seat. Upon seeing that both of them were dressed abnormally formally, Zhi Ziaduo found it a little odd and he asked, "Are you two going to some gala as well?" Kita said, "That's right. There's a countdown gala at the Starlight Hotel, and we're planning on checking it out. You two have fun." Zhou Wanyuan handed the invites to the two of them and smiled gently. She swiped a finger over Zhi Ziaduo's bestie's face, saying, "Good luck on your blind date." "You too," his bestie replied stiffly, her face red. Zhi Ziaduo changed into his suit, and he and his bestie went to the pier together. "Chi," Ziaduo said, "Weird. Aside from back in the beginning, when Zhou Wanyuan recognized your Gur, she's basically been ignoring him since then." His bestie found it very strange as well. Aside from the hellos that Zhou Wanyuan and Chi Wei had exchanged when she climbed into the car, she had basically treated him like air for the rest of the time. But as long as she wasn't clinging on to Chi Wei, that was fine. His bestie's hostility had basically gone away. Zhi Ziaduo's bestie linked her arm through his and walked up the gangplank. One of the workers was receiving the invitation invites, and Zhi Ziaduo took out theirs and opened it, only to find 2 McDonald's vouchers tucked away in it. Zhi Ziaduo. His bestie. The workers looked at them politely. Zhi Ziaduo immediately reached for his phone to contact Kita, but his bestie, her face filled with black lines, said, "Who knows where they've run off to? Let me give Fengli a call." "Wait a sec." Kita and Zhou Wanyuan stopped the car, and they watched for a while from the parking lot in the distance. "They've gone in." Zhou Wanyuan opened her purse, inspecting her equipment. "Let's go, quickly," Kita said. Zhou Wanyuan replied, "Wait a little longer. If we run into them, we'll be scolded to death." "I'm starving," Kita said. "For the sake of squeezing into this shirt, I haven't eaten for an entire day." Zhou Wanyuan. "Goddamn," his bestie said. "It feels like we're country bumpkins entering a city. A real estate agent invited me to this kind of cruise ship event before," Zhi Ziaduo said. "It's a buffet, don't worry." "Do you know how to dance?" his bestie asked. "I really regret not learning how to dance." "I don't know how," Zhi Ziaduo said. "Don't stand by the dance floor. Head to the very edges and lean up against the railings on the deck. Look up at the night sky at a 45-degree angle, and someone will come to seek out your company." "Where's Fengli?" his bestie asked. "I feel like he's definitely waiting patiently for a chance to make a fool of me." "Nonsense," Zhi Ziaduo replied quietly. "That's just how his circle is. It's fine as long as you get used to it. Don't be afraid. There's so many foreigners," his bestie said. Zhi Ziaduo was a little nervous as well. He wasn't very fluent in English. Thankfully, no one noticed him. The waiter brought over a tray of pre-dinner drinks, and Zhi Ziaduo said, "Just water, thanks." "It's actually Evian, wow." "Welcome, welcome," a young man's voice said. Zhi Ziaduo and his bestie turned to look at the same time, only to see his bestie's blind date appear to welcome a few foreigners. "Even after answering the phone, he didn't come to greet me," his bestie said. "He might be too busy," Zhi Ziaduo replied. "He'll definitely give you a call in a bit." Kita and Zhou Wanyuan boarded the ship. Zhou Wanyuan glanced at the waiter coyly. The waiter was checking the register, and said, "You two are." "Hey." Zhou Wanyuan began to smile as if she had discovered something, and she completely ignored the waiter as she walked up the gangway. Kita chuckled loudly as well and followed. The waiter didn't dare to force the two of them to stay, and when they looked up, they saw Zhou Wanyuan head over and pat a tall middle-aged man on the shoulder. That middle-aged man turned, and Zhou Wanyuan immediately grew a little awkward, before she began to chuckle apologetically. I recognized the wrong person, Zhou Wanyuan smiled sweetly. Kita caught up and laughed, saying, I told you, that's not him. The middle-aged man hurried to shake their hands in an affable show, and he said, no worries, no worries. You are white deer media, Zhou Wanyuan made one up. Oh, the middle-aged man said. I've heard a lot about you. Kita smiled slightly as he stood to one side. He took this chance to glance at the worker who was inspecting the tickets, but when someone else boarded, the inspector paid no more attention to them. The second group has boarded as well, Chi Wei said into the earpiece. It's the third group's turn. Xian Hezi glanced around down below the ship, before straightening his clothes. He was dressed in a waiter's outfit, which consisted of a pair of black suit pants and a white shirt, and he tugged at his bow tie. With a bag slung over his shoulder, he managed to make his way into the workers' entrance to the side of the ship. Xian Hezi showed the workers' badge he had obtained that afternoon, and they let him through. There's no one on the rear deck, Xian Hezi said into his earpiece. Chi Wei and Chen Zhen circled around to the stern of the ship. Xian Hezi pulled out a totem he had in his bag, and he put one hand on it. Chen Zhen pulled out another totem and placed it on a container. Both totems began to shine at the same time, and ripples appeared in the air, revealing a passage. Chen Zhen led Chen Lang as they sped in, while Chi Wei followed closely behind. As soon as he entered, he reached a hand out and grabbed the totem, pulling it into the twisted space. The third and fourth groups have successfully boarded. Chen Zhen stepped onto the rear deck, and Xian Hezi opened a door, gesturing for them to head down the staircase. Chen Zhen carried Chen Lang down, and Xian Hezi opened up the door to a cabin, letting Chen Lang go in. Inside was a very large tea lounge, with a stage in the center. Chen Zhen straightened his clothes, before he sat down at one of the small tea tables. A projector screen was hanging in the middle of the stage, and a movie was currently playing. As soon as Chen Lang sat down, he was enraptured by it. Chen Zhen told him, I'll go find you something to eat. Chen Lang motioned to Chen Zhen, be very careful. Chen Zhen said into his earpiece, remain in your positions for now, and wait for my commands. Xian Hezi said to them, I'll be in the food prep room right behind, so relax. Xian Hezi entered the food prep room, where, through the circular window, he could see the tea lounge and the stage. Chen Zhen inspected Chen Lang's bag that he had on him. Inside was a stack of protective talismans. He nodded at him, before rising and leaving with Chi Wei. The cruise ship sounded its horn, and the colored lights flashed. With a shake, the ship lifted its anchor, and they set out to sea. Why haven't they opened the buffet yet? Zhou Wanyuan asked. Kita said, I'm also dying of hunger, and I'm still waiting. I see the whole roasted lamb now. Zhou Wanyuan said, this evening gown is too eye-catching. If I had known in advance, I would have bought the black one. So many people are wearing red, Kita said. Zhi Xiaoduo won't find us. Where is he? Zhou Wanyuan asked quietly. In the corner, Kita replied. Have the yaw-revealing mirror ready. Zhi Xiaoduo and his bestie were standing side by side in front of the porthole, watching the colored lights flashing outside. The silver river spanned the sky above like a belt. 5 levels of the cruise ship were accessible, the top level was a water bar, while the second was split into an open-air deck and a restaurant. The deck had a dance floor on it, while the restaurant was set up as a buffet. The third level was the tea and coffee lounge, as well as a performance stage. The outer edge of the fourth level was a video game hall, while the center was a small casino. The fifth layer was where the guests rested. More than 2,000 people had been invited, and it was very lively. Everyone A young man's voice sounded in the restaurant, and everyone stopped talking. The young man said, "Please partake as you wish. I, on behalf of the entirety of Chaoxiang Shipping, would like to wish everyone a happy new year, and for your wealth to increase in leaps and bounds." Everyone clapped. The buffet opened, and Zhi Xiaoduo immediately rushed to get a plate. Kita swallowed a mouthful of saliva. "Hurry up," Zhou Wanyuan said. "I'll go grab the whole roasted lamb. You go cut the salmon, make sure you get a larger plate. I'll leave the turkey to you," Kita said. Zhou Wanyuan and Kita each took a dinner plate, dividing and conquering as they dashed towards two tables. "I want to go watch the New Year's Gala," Zhi Xiaoduo said to his bestie as he took some more food. "Who knows if Zhao Benchen will be in it this year?" His bestie, "Can you be a little more proper? Such a luxurious, extravagant, high-class gala, yet you're here talking to me about Zhao Benchen." "But his skits are really funny," Zhi Xiaoduo protested. His bestie replied, "Hurry up and grab the lobster first, then we can keep talking." "You too," a voice said from behind them. "Fengli." Zhi Xiaoduo's eyes brightened, and he smiled. Fengli looked at the two of them intently. He was wearing a casual suit, and his skin was even paler than Zhi Xiaoduo's. Their eyes met for a moment, before Fengli avoided Zhi Xiaoduo's gaze. He shut his eyes for a brief moment, before he smiled warmly. "Excuse me, are you Lin Jian?" Fengli asked Zhi Xiaoduo's bestie. I am," his bestie replied. She came back to herself, and she said, "This is my younger cousin, Zhi Xiaoduo." "Hello," Zhi Xiaoduo said. Fengli offered up his hand, and his bestie put her hand in his. At that, Fengli pressed a kiss to the back of her hand. Fengli said, "I have not shown you proper consideration, and I apologize greatly for that." From the very start, Fengli's eyes were a little downcast, but his eyebrows were slightly raised, which made him seem warm and charming. "Nonsense," his bestie chuckled. "I've caused you trouble." Fengli said, "It is natural for such an extravagant night to cause one to feel a little irritated. For you to not mind the vulgarity of this place would be my greatest honor. Please, may I ask, what plans do you have for tonight?" Zhi Xiaoduo thought to himself, so exquisite, and plus, he feels so 2D. Just like he walked right out of a manga. What a beautiful man untouched by the smoke of the human realm. His bestie replied, I don't have any." Fengli offered, "How about I take you around for a look?" His bestie glanced at Zhi Xiaoduo, and Zhi Xiaoduo immediately understood. "I'll leave her in your care then." Fengli said, "Allow me to make some preparations." "Sorry, please wait for a moment." And saying this, Fengli bowed slightly, before turning and leaving to make a call, probably to arrange for some tasks to be done. "So handsome and so refined," Zhi Xiaoduo exclaimed. "Plus, he even uses honorifics." "His picture looked better than him," his bestie said. "Don't you think so? He's too refined. He's even more Xiao than you are, nor is he as handsome as you." Of the pretty boys that Zhi Xiaoduo had seen, only Chen Lang could probably stand on his level, but unfortunately, Xiao Lang hadn't come tonight. A moment later, Fengli returned, after assigning some tasks. "I'll wander around on my own," Zhi Xiaoduo said. "You don't need to mind me." Fengli said, "You can see a view of Macau from the rear deck. The night view is pretty nice there." Zhi Xiaoduo nodded, and he took a little bit to eat and picked up his drink. He glanced at his bestie, indicating that she should have a good chat, before he walked away along the long table. When Kita and Zhou Wanyuan saw Zhi Xiaoduo coming over, they immediately ducked to the side. Zhi Xiaoduo picked up a bit of beef prime rib, before he headed towards the door to the rear deck. The waiter immediately held the door open for him and bowed. After Zhi Xiaoduo left, People behind him tried to go outside to catch some fresh air as well, but the waiter barred them from doing so. "Please go around the front," the waiter said. "The rear of the deck is not open to visitors, apologies." Zhi Xiaoduo walked along the rear of the boat. This was a glass greenhouse that was closed off to the air, and he was surrounded on all sides by the walls of a spotlessly clean glass canopy. Through it, he could see the multitude of twinkling stars in the sky. There was a single table in the greenhouse. Colored lights twinkled, making the greenhouse very cozy. To one side, there was a waiter playing the violin. So beautiful. Dreamlike colored lights across the deck, along with the Macau Peninsula in the distance. The mountain and the shore were filled with colorful lights. Zhi Xiaoduo turned to glance at the wooden plaque hanging above the door, where a chibi, large-headed snake had been drawn. The surroundings were very quiet. The sound of the engine had been kept out of the greenhouse, and near the railing stood a man in a suit, whose back was to him. "I'm in the wrong spot. Sorry for disturbing you." Zhi Xiaoduo sensed that this place was very likely a private area. The man looked up at the night sky, before he reached out easily and pressed a button on the rail. In the greenhouse, all of the colored lights winked out. "Come to beside me." End chapter. Post-training notice. National First Class Registered Exorcist. Chapter 77. Dinner. The man: "Do you like looking at the stars?" "I liked it very much when I was a child." Zhi Xiaoduo replied. Zhi Xiaoduo put his plate down on the table, and walked over to stand beside the man. The man was wearing a hat angled down low, blocking his face, and there was a very nice scent on his body, the smell of tobacco mixed with the smell of male skin. So hot, Zhi Xiaoduo felt a little dizzy. He is so tall and hot, and since he appeared in such a place, he's probably also very rich. He should be a straight man, but who is he waiting for? His girlfriend. "Are you waiting here for someone?" Zhi Xiaoduo asked. "Yes." The man replied. Zhi Xiaoduo said, "I must be disturbing you." "I'd better." "It's fine." The man replied. Before Zhi Xiaoduo could think about it, the man asked, "Where are you from?" "Zhuhai." Zhi Xiaoduo said, "There is no industrial pollution there, and I often looked at the constellations out on the rocks by the sea. Sometimes I think that the universe is really amazing. Are there people like us looking back at us from those distant stars?" The man was quiet for a while, before he let out an N and replied, "I didn't actually think of this." "What do you think when you look at the stars?" Zhi Xiaoduo asked. "There's long stretches of darkness, and the tiniest, loneliest points of light from the stars." The man said, "But in the night sky, there is always a light shining for you." Zhi Xiaoduo laughed, and the man looked at the starry sky in a trance. "Light isn't everywhere, it's simply a lamp in the dark that is always lit for you. So before going out to defeat external enemies, you must first defeat the enemy within yourself. You don't have to be afraid of sinking and falling, as long as you continuously pull yourself back up to try again." The man said, "Do you know who said this?" "I don't know the first half." Zhi Xiaoduo thought for a while and said, "The second half is Romain Rolland, right?" "Why do you think so?" "Because my heart can't get over that barrier that I myself set." The man replied. "Why?" Zhi Xiaoduo asked curiously as his eyebrows twitched. Zhi Xiaoduo's heart kept beating very fast. When talking to this man, he felt very happy, as if every word he said was filled with a flirty intent. They hadn't even introduced themselves to each other, but when Zhi Xiaoduo stood beside him, he couldn't help but want to see him. Even if he didn't show his face, his trim figure, his fingers pressing against the railing, and his very masculine, strong, magnetic voice made Zhi Xiaoduo's heart beat faster. Zhi Xiaoduo was a little curious, because he really wanted to see his appearance. The man turned his head, he had sensed that. He pressed the switch on the side of the boat, and the light came on again. Do you want to eat something? The man took off his hat and said to Zhi Xiaoduo, you must be hungry. Zhi Xiaoduo saw the man's appearance and was instantly shocked. Oh, my God! How ugly! Zhi Xiaoduo was instantly disillusioned. The man was very dark, his skin was very rough and pitted, his eyebrows were sparse, and his ears stuck out, although his nose was rather nice. However, such facial features were too incongruous. If thrown into a crowd, he would be the ugliest. He embodied the classical example of a Malay man. However, as the man stared fixedly at Zhi Xiaoduo, it gave him a feel of being ugly handsome. Zhi Xiaoduo stared fixedly at him, and at that moment, he had a strong thought. Still so hot. You are very handsome. The man said. Zhi Xiaoduo was instantly at a loss for words. After a short moment of shock, he suddenly felt like a peach blossom was flowering in his heart. Thank you, you are also. Zhi Xiaoduo instinctively wanted to compliment the other party, but saying you're also so handsome sounded sarcastic instead, and it was stupid to say you're so rich. You aren't as handsome, Zhi Xiaoduo said, but you're very kind. Thank you for not lying with your eyes wide open. I'm very ugly. The man replied politely, I'm simply very rich. Gold inlay make the Buddha, and clothes make the man. Many people wouldn't even look at me after I take off these clothes. No, no, no. Zhi Xiaoduo laughed, how can you say that? But I really think you're still a little handsome. Maybe my aesthetic taste is different from that of ordinary people, so it's like that for me. He's the type I like. But why is he so ugly? Zhi Xiaoduo was almost speechless. Sit ba. The man motioned for him to sit down. What's your zodiac sign? Aquarius. Zhi Xiaoduo said, what about you? The man said, Leo. Aquarius, so isn't your birthday soon? The man said casually. Yes. Zhi Xiaoduo exclaimed, remembering that his birthday was actually tomorrow, and said, tomorrow is my birthday. Then I must wish you happy birthday in advance. The man said. Thank you. Zhi Xiaoduo laughed, then remembered that he still hadn't asked his name, and said, how about I invite you out to eat tomorrow? Let's go ashore, and I'll take you to have fun. My name is Zhi Xiaoduo, and you? Valpolicella. The man flawlessly pronounced this Italian name. Zhi Xiaoduo. I also have a Chinese name, Cheng. The man replied, you can call me Shi Cheng, but few people know this name. Please don't mention it to others. Okay. Zhi Xiaoduo said immediately. Shi Cheng asked, what would you like to eat? Zhi Xiaoduo said, I'll just eat from the buffet. Should I get you some? Let the kitchen make it. Shi Cheng rang the bell. Have you been living abroad this entire time? Zhi Xiaoduo asked. N, Shi Cheng replied. The waiter came in and took their orders. Shi Cheng asked them to remove the plates, ordered a few dishes, and said, I noticed you when you just got on the boat. You got on the boat with a girl, and I thought that was your girlfriend. That's my best friend. Zhi Xiaoduo said, Feng Li is keeping her company right now. Shi Cheng pondered over this for a moment, then nodded. The waiter served red wine and appetizers, while Shi Cheng asked, how many days are you staying in Macau? Zhi Xiaoduo said, maybe until the second or third day of the new year. Are you familiar with Macau? Not very. Shi Cheng said, I went out for a walk this morning, and I didn't think there was much to do. Then let's agree that we'll go together tomorrow. Zhi Xiaoduo replied, I've been here several times, and I'm a little familiar with Macau. Did President Ye or Feng Li also invite you? I am President Ye. Shi Cheng answered casually, this ship is mine. Zhi Xiaoduo. After a short silence, Zhi Xiaoduo's worldview collapsed. He thought, it can't be, right, I actually met a domineering president. Shi Cheng picked up the saucer with 3 fingers and poured it on the food in Zhi Ziaduo's plate. But you said your surname was Shi. Zhi Ziaduo said. Shi Cheng replied, I use my mother's surname. Shi Cheng snapped his fingers and pointed at the door, indicating that the violinist could just go scram. Where's Ziaduo? Chen Zhen asked through the earpiece. Kita hiccuped, looked over at the sea from the side of the ship, and replied, went to the deck at the back of the ship. Feng Li's boss invited him over there. Have you been able to see anything? Chen Zhen asked in a low voice while making tea at the self-service station at the coffee bar. I can't figure out what kind of Yao Feng Li is. Zhou Wanyuan took out her makeup mirror, pretended to apply more powder, and said in a low voice, either he's a person or he's some kind of spirit that the Yao-revealing mirror can't show, but I can't help thinking that I've seen this guy somewhere before. Who exactly is he? Chen Zhen Chi Wei said through the earpiece, I've seen Xiang Cheng. Everyone went quiet. Feng Li came out with a big, tall man, and when passing by the guests, he bowed to an old man, shook his hand with both hands, and talked and laughed with him. The man that Feng Li was leading was very handsome, his hair slightly curly. He was obviously well groomed, and he was wearing a pair of glasses. He had a high nose bridge, and he smiled at the old man. Chen Zhen immediately said, he's not wearing a disguise. No, Chi Wei said, he's just wearing a pair of glasses, and he's supposedly Feng Li's attendant. Feng Li is definitely a Yao, Kita said, let me go test him out. Be careful. Chen Zhen said, none of you can take any unauthorized actions. This is not the mainland, and we have no way to deal with the aftermath. If something happens, it will immediately make the headlines. Understood, Kita said, hurry up and think of a way then. I have already contacted the Macau Coast Guard, Chen Zhen said in a low voice. Chi Wei asked, also, who is Feng Li's boss? Chen Zhen said, Xian Hezi, you're in charge of protecting Ziaduo. Xian Hezi agreed, and Kita walked towards Zhou Wanyuan. Zhou Wanyuan put away the Yao-revealing mirror and took Kita's arm. The two of them followed the group of people behind Feng Li and entered the cabin. This Mr. Xiang is an old family friend. Feng Li said politely, he specializes in the field of identification. Hello, the old man with the white beard smiled at Xiang Cheng. Xiang Cheng's expression was indifferent, and he just nodded a little and said hello. Several people entered the 4th floor. Kita and Zhou Wanyuan wanted to go down the stairs, but they were blocked by the servants outside, who signaled for them to come back later. We can't go in here. Kita asked. It's closed for the time being. I'm very sorry. That's fine. Zhou Wanyuan casually said, we'll just walk around. The attendant closed the central door of the small casino and Kita and Zhou Wanyuan made a detour. After the two of them entered the narrow passageway that led them past the 4th floor cabins, Zhou Wanyuan said, let's go in from below. Kita quickly walked down to the 5th floor. The 5th floor was the guest lounge. Zhou Wanyuan opened a door, lifted up the skirt of her evening dress in one smooth motion, leaped onto the cabinet at the head of the bed, and removed the vent cover. Kita said, can't you choose a more refined way to break in? My clothes cost 90,000 yuan. 90,000. Zhou Wanyuan said, I'm not even afraid of ruining them, so what are you afraid of? Kita had no choice but to squeeze inside. The two people emerged from a vent on the 4th floor, located in the bar behind the game hall. The game hall was not open yet, and a staff member was sorting poker chips. Zhou Wanyuan came out first, immediately tossing out some Lihun pollen. The staff member sneezed, and Kita then fainted, chopping at his neck with one hand. The staff member fainted, and Kita let him sit down, pretending that nothing had happened. You patrol. Kita said, I'll go take a look in the casino. Kita swaggered, whistling, his hands in his trouser pockets, and entered the corridor. At the door, Fengli was telling an attendant something, when he suddenly looked up and faced Kita. Kita immediately froze. Fengli was wearing a black vest, and he had dark hair, his bangs hanging down to block his left eye and eyebrow. He had a ring with a gem inset on his hand, his face was so beautiful that it was intimidating, and his skin was pale. He looked like a woman disguised as a man. "Excuse me, but you are?" Fengli showed an inquiring look and turned to Kita. "Kita." Kita's face instantly turned red all the way to his ears. "Fengli. This is gambling. A casino." Kita looked around, returned to his senses, and smiled wildly at Fengli. "Yes," Fengli replied politely, "but it's not open yet. Would you mind going to the tea house for a cup of coffee and come down later?" Kita already couldn't even move his feet and said, "Yes, haha." He said that, but Kita couldn't help looking at Fengli. Fengli hesitated for a moment, and the sound of conversation came from inside. "Kita, what are you doing?" Chen Zhen asked in the earpiece. Kita was already completely ignoring Chen Zhen, and Fengli said, "In that case, please come in and have a seat, ba." Fengli ordered people to open the door of the casino, and Kita followed him in. An old man with a white beard sat to the side, talking with Xiang Cheng on a sofa. An attendant brought some alcohol and a cup for each of them. "Excuse me, how do I address you?" Fengli asked. "My last name is Chang." Kita said, "What about you?" "I am Fengli." Fengli replied, "Please sit down, Mr. Chang." "Excuse me for a moment." Fengli motioned for Kita to sit on another sofa, and an attendant came over with a tray to exchange chips. Kita took out his credit card and put it on the tray. He took a numbered chip and turned it over. "An invoice, please." Kita said. "Sir, we have no invoices." The attendant replied, "Is a receipt okay?" "Stamp your casino seal on it, ba," Kita said. The attendant nodded. Fengli went to another sofa and said a few words to Xiang Cheng. Xiang Cheng immediately looked up at Kita in front of him. Kita grinned at him without his eyes smiling, baring his canines. "I see him." Kita said into his earpiece, "I'm in the casino." Chen Zhen replied, "Chi Wei will go down to support you immediately. Don't worry, in such a place, they don't dare to act rashly, otherwise there will be no way to hide anymore in human society." Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Zhi Xiaoduo and Shi Cheng chatted for a while. The strange thing was that every time Zhi Xiaoduo mentioned something, Shi Cheng could tacitly continue the subject, just like an old friend who had known him for many years, which made Zhi Xiaoduo feel as though they had met a long time ago. "Then I quit." Zhi Xiaoduo said, "I hung my certificate up at my friend's design institute, slung my backpack over my back, and went to Beijing for half a year to see if there was a new life there." "You went alone?" Shi Cheng asked. "N." Zhi Xiaoduo said, "I thought I could open the door to a new world, but I didn't expect to end up feeling tired of wandering around." Shi Cheng said, "When I was a child, I often thought that the world was so big, so how would I not be able to find a place to settle down and start a new life? But the further I travel, the more I miss home." "Yes, yes." Zhi Xiaoduo replied, "That's it, that is to say, people are. Hey, they always feel bored when they're living a placid life at home, but when they go out for a trip, they feel that it's not their place and want to go home. But when they get back, they still feel bored day after day, year after year. I sympathize." Shi Cheng replied, "It's lonely." Zhi Xiaoduo felt that was funny and said, "It's all hypocritical in the end. Many people don't even have enough to eat." Shi Cheng quietly looked at Zhi Xiaoduo and didn't answer him. Zhi Xiaoduo said, "I'm full now. Thank you for your hospitality, I must have caused you trouble today." "No." Shi Cheng said, "I've always hoped that the person I waited for would come." Zhi Ziaduo was touched. This place seemed to be dedicated to a two-person world, eating a candlelight dinner together, but what was Xi Cheng waiting for? In the end, no one came or was he saying that he wanted to eat this New Year's Eve dinner with Zhi Ziaduo? Leave me your contact information. Xi Cheng said, let's go to Macau tomorrow. Do you want to go to Hong Kong? I don't have a visa. Zhi Ziaduo said. It doesn't matter. Xi Cheng said, I'll let them know, and it will be done the day after tomorrow. What's your phone number? They left each other their phone numbers. Someone knocked on the door outside, and a bodyguard pushed the door open and came in. He wore white gloves on both hands, was holding a Bluetooth headset, and bent over to help Xi Cheng put it on. What is it? Xi Cheng asked, and then began to take the call. Zhi Ziaduo thought that maybe he had something to do, and it was time for him to get up and leave, but he was very perturbed. He didn't expect such a rich man with billions of dollars to chat with him for more than an hour. Xi Cheng listened attentively to what was being said in the headset and nodded, understood, you decide yourself. The bodyguard withdrew. Xi Cheng pressed to hang up and said to Zhi Ziaduo, do you need to go to the bathroom? No, no. Zhi Ziaduo said, if you have something to do. I won't disturb you. I didn't say that. Xi Cheng replied, I've felt it since just now, why have you been in a hurry to leave this whole time? Zhi Ziaduo was a little embarrassed and explained, your time must be very precious. I'm afraid of making trouble for you. Everyone's time is precious. Xi Cheng said, are you willing to spend your precious time chatting with me for a while? Okay. Zhi Ziaduo laughed. He couldn't be more willing. Although Xi Cheng looked ugly at first sight, he felt miraculously pleasing to the eye after looking at him for such a long time. If he wasn't so rich, maybe Zhi Ziaduo would really consider him. Appearance was only skin deep, and everyone would grow old. Besides, boys could get a lot of extra points if they had a good figure, and with those clothes on, he grew just ever so slightly better, and he already wasn't that shocking in appearance. However, Zhi Ziaduo was very uneasy, because the other party felt like he was using playboy tactics to chat with him, listening more while talking less, just like a rich person playing around with a little show, which made him feel a little insecure. Of course, this was just Zhi Ziaduo's imagination. Xi Cheng actually gave him a sense of security instead. Xi Cheng just watched him quietly. Dessert? Xi Cheng asked. Ice cream ba. Zhi Ziaduo burped and waved his hand. Xi Cheng said, frozen yogurt helps with digestion. Zhi Ziaduo was really overwhelmed by this unexpected favoritism. For the first time in so many years, he was treated so courteously, and it was on a cruise ship, by a stranger whom he had never met before. It can't be that he likes me, right? No way. A tall, rich, handsome. No, a tall, rich, ugly guy had come up with all sorts of topics to chat with him for more than an hour. If you said that he didn't mean it that way, who would believe that? Why are you afraid of wasting my time? Xi Cheng asked, and I think you feel a little restless. Are you afraid of saying the wrong thing? Thank you. Zhi Ziaduo said to the waiter who served the frozen yogurt. He took the yogurt, smiled at Xi Cheng a little, and said, I just thought. You should, be busy with entertaining those business partners ba. Actually, I'm not president yet. Xi Cheng said, I'm just a part-time worker. I'm the project leader for Yunkai shipyard, I'm helping President Ye look after today's dinner. I borrowed the suit from my buddy. Zhi Ziaduo almost choked on the frozen yogurt. Xi Cheng hurriedly scooted over and patted Zhi Ziaduo on the back. Their eyes met, and Zhi Ziaduo blushed. The staff on board are all outsourced. Xi Cheng sat back a little, stretched, lifted his legs, drew up his pants to his knees, and joked, President Ye was going to invite an old friend of his here today, but they had something come up and didn't come. I was just thinking of eating this New Year's Eve dinner by myself, and then you just happened to come, so I invited you to eat. After going back, President Ye will have to transfer money to our company before I can pay them. They don't dare to offend me, so I came to be the boss today. Xicheng said, it's also the first time that I get to eat such good things. Zhi Xiaoduo was about to expire from laughter from Xicheng. He thought, you should have said that earlier, I was nervous for so long. Does your doc contract such big projects every time? Zhi Xiaoduo asked. I don't know. Xicheng said, I transferred here from headquarters. Do you like it? If you like it, I can bring you in often, as long as it's one of my projects. You'll get caught ba. Zhi Xiaoduo said, you don't even know where your boss went, and yet we're here having a candlelit dinner. Is that really okay? Xicheng laughed loudly, and Zhi Xiaoduo couldn't decide if he should laugh or cry. Are we still going to keep in touch after we head back? Xicheng said, if you thought I was President Ye, you would probably ignore me, afraid of being tricked by me, right? No. Zhi Xiaoduo said expressionlessly, you're imagining things. You just gave me that feeling just now. Xicheng asked, I'll take the liberty to ask, do you have a girlfriend? No. Zhi Xiaoduo said, that was my best friend just now. Then, a boyfriend? Xicheng asked. Zhi Xiaoduo. With your qualities, it should be very easy to find one. Xicheng said, when I was working on the deck just now, I knew you were gay at first glance. Zhi Xiaoduo was so embarrassed and said, is it that easy to tell? It's all right. Xicheng thought for a while and said, I used to be at sea pretty often, and I saw a lot. Xicheng looked at Zhi Xiaoduo. Zhi Xiaoduo felt that this was very funny. It was like a movie he had seen before, two people going to a rich man's party to have a big meal. Are you also? Do you also like men? Zhi Xiaoduo said. But I'm so ugly. Xicheng sighed and said, I'm ugly, so I don't even have the right to be gay. If I took off this suit, no one would look at me. Human beings are just like this, everything depends on appearances. Zhi Xiaoduo almost instinctively said, I want you but managed to stifle that. He thought it was pretty strange, why would he suddenly think like that? If there is anyone suitable, Xicheng said, can you introduce them to me? Zhi Xiaoduo said, of course. For the first time, Zhi Xiaoduo thought, why not? Zhi Xiaoduo thought for a long time and asked, what type do you like? Xicheng said, someone like you. Zhi Xiaoduo. Zhi Xiaoduo's face went completely red, and his heart beat wildly. He thought to himself, what's going on today? It's almost like I've gone crazy, it can't be that I've really fallen for this person at first sight, right? But aren't people who fall in love at first sight face cons? They wouldn't like someone so ugly at the first glance, right? Do you believe in love at first sight? Xicheng asked, a smile in his eyes. What type do you like? He had guessed what Zhi Xiaoduo was thinking again, and Zhi Xiaoduo said, maybe I can't say for certain. As long as I have feelings for them, it's fine. Do you have feelings for me? Xicheng asked again, you're blushing. Zhi Xiaoduo thought, can you stop acting like a machine gun? Suddenly, I feel like I'm being attacked by a domineering president. He's so skilled at this. No. Zhi Xiaoduo immediately denied, not at all. You think too highly of yourself. You like me? Xicheng said, right? Just now I already thought you liked me. After knowing I wasn't president yet, you liked me even more. Zhi Xiaoduo said, hey. You're coming on even stronger. Xicheng burst out laughing again, and Zhi Xiaoduo said, be careful or President Ye will need to settle accounts with you. Not doing business and flirting with guests here. Right, What I just said was all lies. Shi Cheng stopped laughing and said solemnly, I'm really president yet. I haven't been so happy for a long time. End chapter.